Good afternoon, Australia. I'm George Maguire and I'm broadcasting live from the project studio. And I'm here to bring you news that I hope shocks you just as much as it shocked me. Concealment. Not technically lying, but just deceiving, is a favourite technique concerning the media to conceal information for the benefit of the media source or a third party. And in this case, it is a tool that has caused a major tragedy to nearly remain unnoticed. The Amazon forest, otherwise known as the Earth's lungs, is the largest rainforest in the world, existing for an estimated 55 million years and infamous for its biodiversity. It runs along 9 countries and is home to several tribes that have had zero contact to the outside world. As well as being the largest home to millions of wildlife, it produces a massive 20% of our planet's oxygen. So you think people would notice if the Earth's largest air supply was up in flames? The Amazon fires of 2019 are one of the most unrepresented events of the year, with no exact date of when the first fire started except for a rough estimate that it was August 15 when about 9,500 fires had already started blazing through the largest forest in the world. One would expect an immediate response from the media, one that challenged the likes of the burning of the Notre Dame, since of its rapid growth in magnitude and the fame of the infamous forest. But the world of media was silent. According to The Week, on August 15, the most major news headline broadcasted across television was "Stocks dive after bond market flash recession warning sign." It was not until August 20 when the fires were considered major news, even though Brazil's National Institute of Space Research, INPE, revealed its alarming data internationally much earlier. Unlike the efforts of charitability that concerned the Notre Dame, once the news finally broke about the fires, there was no rush of donations, no offers of international help. The only major celebrity to pitch in was Leonardo DiCaprio, who, after donating, attacked the media for not properly representing the immensity of the danger of these bushfires, saying in a somber tone, "The lungs of the earth are in flames." His outrage was caused by the initial reaction of the fires by the public. Experts played it off as a cycle of nature since the fires are a yearly occurrence and that nothing the public should be concerned about. Forbes magazine has even written an article about the fires titled "Why Everything They Say About the Amazon, Including That It's the World's Lungs, Is Wrong." It continues on to bash celebrities like DiCaprio, saying they are spreading unnecessary panic and false information by sharing dramatic photos depicting the Amazon in flames. In an effort to further prove his argument, the author brought in an Amazon forest expert, who was then questioned about the state of the fires, and this is what he had to say. "It's bullshit," he said. "There's no science behind that. The Amazon produces a lot of oxygen, but it uses the same amount of oxygen through respiration, so it is a wash." The article then continued on, stating how most of us were concerned about the churches and buildings that were being destroyed, even though the fire did not disrupt any anthropogenic factors. And not once did it express concern of wildlife or what damage the fire caused to nature's wonder. But just like that, the public ate it up. For a split second, there was outrage over the lack of coverage and information. And then after a few months, it was a forgotten story that experts and politicians had waved away as something that was insignificant. Even with an hour of researching, there was no end date to be found, or how much land it had destroyed, loss of wildlife, human life. Nothing but the fact that the smoke was affecting the breathing of some people. Not to mention the cause of the fires in the first place. As a Nature.com article writes, landowners use fire to clear forests illegally to make way for crops and cattle grazing. But Brazil's populist president, Jair Bolsonaro, has effectively fanned the flames with his anti-environmentalist agenda since taking office in January. This didn't help Amazon's cause, as the Brazilian president questioned whether it would have any long-term economical benefits in saving the forest. Bolsonaro, along with other G7 leaders that were tasked with the funding of the fire relief, offered an insufficient $22 million US, which according to Nature.com would hardly fight the fires, let alone the underlying problems that caused it in the first place. 7 of the 9 Amazon countries vowed to work together to fix these issues, but provided no details on how and when. After politicians encouraged people the problem would be fixed, they went back to their everyday lives after being reassured that it would be all okay. That promise was made in September, and to this day, that vow has not been fulfilled. But people don't know because no one reports it. There is no call to action to inspire people to protest for change. News media are there to ensure people stay ignorant because that's what the government wants them to do. Meanwhile, our greatest natural wonder is crying for help to no aid. So I ask you, how does it feel to be part of the killing of the Earth's lungs?